Good morning, this is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Thursday, the 16th of July. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer your own charts, and I'm not here to issue trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at chartingthemarkets.substack.com. It's published on YouTube after a delay of 24 hours. All right, great. Let's have a look at the ES chart. Now, one thing I was saying yesterday, I'm not saying this is happening this morning, but I was saying that this is, if you pull back a bit and think about it, this is kind of a strange looking market because really, given the background, the oil crisis and the war, etc., it's kind of strange that the market isn't responding to that by, well, going down. So that is something that we need to be aware of on the market here because, of course, that could end. So just to be aware of that. But I mean, do we have a potential topping set up here? Yes, we do. We've got a nice looking double top here. This was a possible head and shoulders forming on SPX yesterday. It's now a potential double top on both ES and SPX. It's not huge. If we saw a sustained breakdown below here, we'd be looking for a target probably at about the 674.25 area, which really, isn't a vast move. But I am watching these things and bearing them in mind. NQ, we've now got, I've drawn in a potential overall triangle here, but the pattern we've got here on NQ is a really nice 3 touches below, 3 touches above, a really nice falling wedge, and we've tested resistance on that. So what I was saying last night was obviously we could break up, in which case I think we'd have a shot at having a retest of the all-time high, or potentially we could head down to falling wedge support. And that is currently at about the 28.625 area. So, and at the moment, we're halfway back to that support. So, watching that with interest. Not a really obvious topping pattern here, but if we were to do that, then of course we'd go lower, we'd make a lower low under here. Looking at RTY, I mentioned that we've got a potential head and shoulders forming here. We've already got a little level top that's broken down, but I think this is potentially turning into a larger double top, a larger head and shoulders. And if we were to see a sustained break below 29.50, obviously break down and reject back into the high. But if it didn't do that, then we can see a target at about the 28.25 area. And we have a less nice, but nonetheless valid, possible head and shoulders forming on YM as well. We will see how that goes. I wouldn't be astonished to see some market weakness on the basis of what we're seeing in the Gulf at all. So we will see. DAX heading into lower lows here after a couple of days consolidation. We've still got a potential double bottom here, but the lower it goes, the less convincing that will be. ESTX looked like a little bear flag, wondering about a retest of this low here. That could be setting up a double bottom if we see it. Nikkei looks like we've got a little triangle here, it looks like, which is either continuing to form or is broken down with a target and a retest this low. That could set up a double bottom to take us much of the way back to the high, of course. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. And on SPX, we're holding well above the daily middle band, and the high yesterday was only 40 points from a retest of the all-time high. I am wondering if we might see that. So we now have actually again some negative divergence here. It's not particularly impressive, but we've got a bit of negative divergence. We lost it here, but we've got some more that's developed on the higher high yesterday. So we've got a possible weak RSI 5 sell signal brewing. Here on the daily charts, we've got potential little head and shoulders, a little double top here, but really the obvious next target would be a retest of the all-time high. In terms of the Qs, this is looking weak and actually closed again yesterday below the daily middle band. It's still more or less holding on to the 50-day MA support. Looks like a consolidation triangle on the daily RSI 5. On the hourly chart, not a lot to see. Here, I'm wondering whether this is a triangle, and I've drawn in the same wedge, but it's not as nice as the one that we've got in NQ because we had an out of hours move up to the resistance, which we didn't see on the RTH chart. Nonetheless, looks all right. We shall see. All right, DAX, we're holding above the daily middle band. We've got a nice looking wedge here from the late March low, and we are pretty close to seeing this tested the daily middle band tested. So we'll see how that goes. We do have a potential head and shoulders here. We do have a potential head and shoulders here, and we will, but it's not very nice. I prefer to see a high retest really, but it would be a valid head and shoulders if it broke down. Looking at the IWM chart, IWM is holding below the daily middle band as well. Again, that's a bit weak. Qs, which have been the weakest in recent weeks, are still looking weak under the daily middle band as well. So we've really got to break some resistance to get up to a retest of the all-time highs. In the short term, we've got this. We've got a nice looking megaphone from the April low last year, which has already hit resistance, and we are testing and breaking slightly the rising support here. This is the equivalent head and shoulders to the one we've got on the RTY chart, and it's nice. We will see how that goes, but I wouldn't be astonished to see it break down. DAX closed slightly above the daily middle band yesterday, probably going to be back below it again today, so we'll see how that develops. Nikkei has broken we've got this very nice looking rising megaphone, which I've been watching. We've broken down below the rising support for it. This has me wondering about a topping process that will either involve a retest of the high here, need to get back over the daily middle band for that, or we could go down to the possible head and shoulder neckline in the 62.3k area. So watching, this does kind of look like a bull flag. We shall see how that goes. All right, great. Let's have a look at DX, where we've now got a really nice looking bull flag here. So the initial flag has expanded, and this looks very nice. I was mentioning in the bigger picture webinar last night that there is a possibility, of course, that this breaks down. But as it is, this is a very nice looking bull flag, and it looks ready to turn back up. So we'll see whether it does. See, ZB, I was wondering about a larger rally starting here as well. But at the moment, we are returning back to the lows, and ZN less near to the lows, and we still got a potential inverted head and shoulders forming here. All right, looking at oil. Now, oil, this has been consolidating through days. You recall I wrote at the beginning of the week that in terms of the Bollinger Bands, this would benefit a lot from basically a bullish consolidation in order to let the daily middle bands turn up and the daily bands start to expand on both Brent and WTech, and they have turned up and they are starting to expand. I'm wondering about retests of the highs. We're getting pretty close to that. CL, wondering about that too. Obviously, we could set up little double tops and retrace further, or we could go straight up, which would seem the more logical direction. Actually, looking at HO, we've still got a weak 6-minute sell signal which hasn't reached the possible near miss target on Brent, and we got one on CL, and we got one on heating oil, although that's reached the possible near miss target. And RBOB, we've got a 60-minute sell signal fixed as well. RBOB obviously has just been going straight up, so we haven't really seen a consolidation here of any size. But I am wondering whether this might deliver a little more downside. NG, we've still got a 60-minute buy signal fixed. I was talking about a little rounding bottom here. I think this is an IHS. That specifically is the IHS, which is starting to break up, and the 60-minute buy signal is getting towards the possible near miss target. I'd quite like to see a rally. This rally would have a target in about the weekly pivot area or slightly below. I'm thinking we may well see that today. We shall see. All right, GC, I've been wondering about a retest to the low, and if we're going to see it, then I think there's a pretty good chance we'll see that today. SI is getting me back, is almost there on the retest to the low already. Strangely, Palladium has not broken down from the bear flag yet, and Platinum hasn't either, which is interesting, and HG hasn't either. But we're pretty close to the retest to the low on gold and silver. We'll see whether we get that and whether those turn into double bottoms when we do get that. All right, looking at KC, looks like a bullish consolidation at the moment. SB, I was saying that I was suspending judgment until on the double top until we broke down below the monthly pivot. We've broken down below that, so that's a double top which is broken down with a target in 1398 1413 area. CC, possible head and shoulders here. I've got to say this has not been aging like a fine wine for the last couple of days, though. If it's going to break down, it really needs to break down now. Lumber, we saw a sharp pullback yesterday. What is happening here overall? Good question. Don't really know. 60-minute sell signal has reached possible near miss target though. CT, I've got this as a potential flag which is overthrowing, or as an IHS which is starting to break up. I was thinking this would make probably head to the target in conjunction with ZW, but ZW actually went and did that alone. We've got a 60-minute sell signal fixed on ZW. I am wondering if this might be a bear flag after all. We shall see. Corn. Heading higher at the moment. I am wondering about seeing some retracement here. We will see. So soy, possible double top here, of course. ZL, we've made the little level bottom target, and the next obvious bigger picture target would be a retest of this high. Live cattle is still in a downtrend, and I'm not seeing any obvious signs of bottoming. We've got a 60-minute buy signal which is fixed and is hanging on by a thread. HE still looks like a bear flag for me. All right, great. Let's have a quick look at questions, of which we have none. All right, be aware on oil. This is something I was saying on the bigger picture last night, but be aware on oil that the news is not good, and the situation is not good, and that could take the market down if people start to care about that at all. And it's some sort of thing can be happening suddenly. So be aware that that is a potential issue on the long side here. So otherwise, beyond that, I'm still quite liking the retest of the high on SPX. And that is unfinished business above Qs, arguably as well. We'll see whether we get it. All right, great. In that case, I think that's a wrap. Everyone take care, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. All right, cheers.